I want to talk about a difficult topic today. Why telling someone you want to kill yourself, especially as a means of expressing pain or frustration, can actually be harmful. I want to empathize that this is coming from a place of compassion and understanding for anyone struggling with heavy emotions. So let's dive in. When someone says, "I want to kill myself," it can feel like a cry for help, and sometimes it is. But for the person hearing it, especially if they don't have the skills or support to help, it can create intense fear, guilt, or even resentment. This is especially true if it's said repeatedly in moments of conflict. Let's be real. It's shitty to say this in the heat of the moment, and here's why. Putting your life on someone else's emotional shoulders is heavy. It can feel manipulative, even if you don't mean it that way. It can make them feel helpless, trapped, or even responsible for your life, which is unfair to both you and them. Sometimes when people say things like this, it's because they're carrying a deep, heavy pain inside that feels impossible to manage alone. They might not even be able to recognize or name that pain. So, in that struggle, it can come out in words that hurt the people around them. When that pain feels like too much to hold, some people end up projecting onto others, almost as if asking them to share the weight, even if it's in a hurtful way. I know that's a tough word, manipulative, but even if you're not intending to control or manipulate, it can have that effect. If the person loves you, they'll feel forced to respond, to calm you down, or even to change their own behavior to try to keep you safe. That kind of pressure doesn't lead to real connection. It just builds walls and resentment over time. If you've ever said something like this, I want you to know that it doesn't make you a bad person. We all have moments of deep pain, and sometimes it feels like no one sees us or understands how much we're struggling. But there are better ways to communicate what you're going through without putting that burden on someone else. If you're hurting, if you feel like you can't handle life, try reaching out in a way that gets the message across but isn't so heavy for others to carry. For example, you could say something like, "I'm feeling really low and I need someone to talk to." Or, "I'm struggling right now and I could use some support." If you have a therapist, reach out to them. If you don't, consider finding one. There are also crisis hotlines, support groups, and even online resources where you can connect with people trained to help in these situations. For those of you who might be on the receiving end of these words, know that it's okay to set boundaries. You can gently suggest that they reach out to someone who's better equipped to help. You're not abandoning them. This is really important. You are not abandoning them. You are actually encouraging them to get the real help they need. We all deserve to be heard. We all deserve to be supported. But using our pain to control or guilt trip others, intentionally or not, ends up isolating us more in the end. Try expressing what you're going through without making others feel like their love alone could save you. If you're feeling desperate, I urge you to reach out to a therapist or a support line. You're not alone, even if it sometimes feels that way. And if you're on the receiving end, remember that you don't have to shoulder someone else's pain entirely. We can care deeply for each other without taking on each other's lives. Thank you for listening, and please, let's all try to communicate our struggles in ways that build understanding and connection. We are all in this together. Take care.